This is a ZX10R. I believe it's a 2012 model. I'm going to replace the exhaust header. Actually, take it off. I'm going to try to get to the headers by not taking a whole lot of stuff off. So let's give it a try. Now with the side plastic off, you can see pretty much almost all the header nuts, but it's still a tight squeeze. Okay, on the bottom of the radiator, there's a bolt that holds the radiator. Just take that out, that way you can push it forward a little bit. That has to be removed. Okay, so I have the side plastics off. I have the bolt down here taken out. So I think there's going to be enough room where I could squeeze in there. If it's too tight for you, you can remove the radiator up top. You don't have to disconnect all the hoses, so you don't have to worry about the coolant. But I think there's going to be enough room. So what I do, try to prop the radiator, just push it forward. Put a piece of wood in there. It just gives you, an extra inch or two. You can see it's not hitting anything up here. What you have to be really careful of is your radiator. These fins, just looking at them funny, they'll start bending. So you want to keep your wrenches away. Don't even get your fingers near it. It just makes it look bad for the customer. So keep away from it. If you think you're going to touch it, best thing to do is, like I said, up top there's a bolt on each side. You could remove that and then drop it forward. I'm going to try to do this without doing the upper bolts. Okay, in order to get to all the nuts, you might have to use a couple different tools. What I like doing is having an elbow with a longer ratchet. That way you can reach in there. Also, the ratchet I'm using, that comes in handy. I might even just have to use an extension. But the main thing is staying away from the radiator. And then try to stay away from the exhaust as well. That way you don't put scratch marks in it. Some of the nuts you're not going to be able to see, so you kind of got to do it by feel. Did I just say that? Your nuts you can't see, so you have to do it by feel. You know what I mean. Now we're on the right side. This one's kind of hard for you to see, but the radiator's still pushed out. Gives me a little bit of room in here. Before the exhaust will drop, there's a bolt back here holding everything together. Okay, so the reason I'm taking the exhaust off is there was an exhaust leak. What you're looking at is cylinder number 1. That is a copper crush washer for the exhaust gasket, I guess. As you can see, the top part of it is all black. That is where the exhaust leak was coming from. Prior to taking the exhaust off, I did try to tighten up the nuts. It didn't help. So just to show you, here's cylinder number 2. You can see that it's copper all the way around, therefore sealing. So if you think you have an exhaust leak and you're looking around, if you see carbon like that, that's going to be the leak. Okay, the way you get these out, you just take a screwdriver and you can see they pry out pretty easy. You don't have to pry them or anything. I just grab a lip and it comes right out. Here are all the gaskets. You can see cylinder 1, which is to your left, has quite a bit of carbon around it. So I think that's where the ticking sound that we heard is definitely coming from. But then you can see cylinder number 3 also has some carbon. And then cylinder number 4 over to the far right also has some carbon that looks like it was leaking out. So it looks like it was a good choice to go ahead and replace these. Get this thing all sealed up. Gasket to the left is the new gasket. The one to the right obviously is the old one. The reason you want to replace these is because they're like crush washers. As soon as you install it, it's going to flatten it and crush it. Sure, you might be able to replace the exhaust and not have to replace the gaskets, but I would suggest replacing them. So I'll try to get closer here. You can see this one has not been crushed yet, and this one has. See the difference? Now when you look at this, this side has a flat surface, and then this side, I guess it's kind of hard to see, it's somewhat beveled, rounded on the edge. When you install these, have the flat side go up to the engine. Just want to show you, here's the new exhaust gasket. When you stick them in here, oh, it falls right out. So Kawasaki does not put little tabs on it. Suzuki, however, on a lot of their bikes will have tabs, so you push it in there and it stays. It's a great idea. However, what you want to do is put a little bit of grease on the mating surface, so when you stick them in here, it's going to stay. So what you don't want to happen is think they're in there, then they fall out when you go to put the exhaust on. So let's get some grease. Okay, you can see I put some grease around the gasket. I usually do, just 4 dabs all the way around it. That way it holds it in there. So we'll go ahead and stick it in here now. Remember before, put it in there and it fell right out. Oops, sorry. Now when you stick it in there, it holds it in. You can see a little bit of grease there, but that's okay. See all the other ones? I've already installed them, and the grease holds them in there pretty well. So before you put the exhaust collars on, just verify that each header is in its hole. You can see I just have this resting in there. Because if you put the collars on, many times it covers up the exhaust, so it's hard to see if it's in the hole. Okay, so what you want to do at this point is install all the nuts finger tight. Do not tighten them, because you're going to have to move the exhaust around a little bit. So just do it finger tight. If you're working by yourself, it's kind of hard to hold the exhaust and make sure they all stay in their holes while you're doing this. So what I do is I just get some wood, stack it up There's the back of the exhaust right there, and that keeps it in place. That way you know nothing is pinched or crooked, and then when you tighten it up, it's going to be in the normal position. Okay, one little trick that you want to do before you tighten down all the exhaust nuts is just hold the back, and what you want to do is wiggle it up and down, and as you do that, tighten up the exhaust nuts just with your fingers, and you'll be able to feel them move. What this will do is it'll make sure you're properly seating those gaskets and making sure that's flat. Now when you have everything all finger tight is when you can start tightening them. You can see here I have my wood jammed in here again. Gives us a little space. So when you tighten these, what you want to do, keep in mind, if you tighten them super tight, you're going to crush those washers all the way to the point of being extremely flat. So you want to tighten them, but don't do them too tight, and of course you want to tighten them enough, have it where it seals. So what I do is I do a little bit, and then I will go to the other one. So you can feel the gasket start compressing. Need my elbow. And just take your time. There's no reason to rush this. Last thing you want to do is go back into it. So just tighten that up a little bit, and then I go down to each one. Just lightly tighten them, and then you come back and do it again. And the idea is to have it where everything lines up. You don't want to tighten up one really tight and then go to the next, because if the exhaust isn't completely seated, you could have another leak. So I'll go ahead and do that here. Once you have the header tightened and ready to go, see it's all nice and tight, you want to install the muffler. That way the header's all secure, flat against the gaskets. And don't forget to install the bolt, or however the muffler is attached. You hear all those little birdies and the kids playing in the background? Well, I'm gonna scare them all away.